So Trump is holding them accountable and saying that he's been warning for a long time that there's no water over there in California. Check it out.
We have to go live to Capitol Hill.
In other words, we gave it to him
where
for
President
nothing.
Trump's
the most
speaking.
expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively speaking. The most expensive, by far. We lost 38,000 people. They gave it to him for $1, and then they charge more for our ships. It's not going to happen. And China's running the Panama Canal. That's not going to happen either.
Mr. President, on California, Mr. President, during the pandemic, you often said that you didn't believe that you should bail out blue states that you believe were being mismanaged. Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So what's happening in California is a true tragedy. I know those areas very well. I have many friends living in those houses. That is a true tragedy. Nobody ever thought. I mean, virtually Beverly Hills and areas around Beverly Hills are being decimated. The biggest homes, some of the most valuable homes in the world are just destroyed. I don't even know. You know, you talk about a tax base. If those people leave, you're going to lose half your tax base of California. This is a true tragedy, and it's a mistake of the governor, and you could say the administration. They don't have any water. They didn't have water in the fire hydrants. They don't have water. And yet they have, the water comes from, you know where? Up north. And it comes down at levels, they give millions and millions of barrels of gallons of water that they have, and they send it out into the Pacific. For the Pacific, it's like a drop, it's nothing. But for California, it would take care of the whole state. So what's happened is a tragedy, and the governor has not done a good job. With that being said, I got along well with him when he was governor. We worked together very well, and we would work together. I guess it looks like we're going to be the one having to rebuild it. But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem, because you're talking about big, big dollars.
He's absolutely right. You know, I remember seeing Trump on Joe Rogan, and this was during the presidential election. And Trump was talking about how there was no water in California, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when California was going to catch hell for it being mismanaged and then basically being put in a position to where these wildfires was going to ruin and burn everything down. That you wouldn't even be on, or you wouldn't even be in a position to stop the wildfires once they started to spread in the United States of America and in Los Angeles or wherever those wildfires was going to be. And it's stupid. It is so dumb that our legislators, it almost seemed planned. It almost seemed planned that this whole thing is playing out the way that it's playing out. It almost seemed planned. I remember when Trump, a long time ago, was talking about there was no water in California. Am I the only person that remember him saying that? Let me see if I can find the Joe Rogan podcast where he was talking about it. Let me see if I can find that.
What's your message for President Biden? He says he
Oh, I thought it was ridiculous that he did that, but we have more important things to talk about. Liz Cheney was, she lost in the Republican Party, as you know, in her state, by the biggest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress. She lost by like 42 points. Nobody's ever lost like that. So I don't care about Liz Cheney. I care about these people.
Deportations. What does day one going to look like in the Trump administration?
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly, and it's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And it's one of the reasons I won the election in a landslide. The people of this country don't want murderers walking down their farms or their streets or their cities.
One day, he goes, it's just going to be the right wind, and fire's going to start in the right place, and it's going to burn through LA all the way to the ocean, and there's not a fucking thing we can do about it.
And Wiley's Chilada. I'm looking for the actual clip of Joe Rogan and Trump.
I felt like it could fall apart at any moment. It was always like, I was always waiting for the next earthquake or the next fire. I was evacuated 3 times from my house from fires. Yeah. Last one, 2 houses in front of my house burnt to the ground. Right in front of my house.
What the f?
Yeah, the wildfires were crazy.
Yeah, it's scary, right?
Scary. When you see them coming, you know, I came home from the Comedy Store, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and me and my wife were looking out the window at the fire coming over the hill. And we made an early call. We said, look, if we're wrong, we'll come back. The house is still here, but let's just get the out of here now.
All right, I found a clip. This is 8 years ago. 8 years ago. All right? This is 8 years ago, this clip that I'm about to play y'all. This is from CNN, from Trump, 8 years ago, and he talking about the water crisis over there in L.A.
Donald Trump telling California voters that he is going to solve the state's 5-year drought.
We're going to solve your water problem. You have a water problem that is so insane. It is so ridiculous, where they're taking the water and shoving it out to sea. And I just met with a lot of the farmers who are great people, and they're saying, we don't even understand it. They don't understand. Nobody understands it. And I've heard this from other friends of mine in California, where they have farms up here, and they don't get water. I said, oh, that's too bad. Is it a drought? No, we have plenty of water. I said, what's wrong? Well, we shove it out to sea. And I said, why? And nobody even knows why. And the environmentalists don't know why. Now they're trying to protect a certain kind of 3-inch fish.
Trump did not go into detail about how officials would open up the water, nor what science supports the claim that the drought is not real. But he did tout himself as a champion of the environment, saying, quote, I've received many, many environmental rewards, really, rewards and awards.
That was 8 years ago when he was warning them. And again, I remember on Joe Rogan's podcast where he was talking about the problem that they had when it came to the fires. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. I know I can't pull it up. Let me go back to this original video. We'll go from there.
With it live.
As you know, in her state, by the biggest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress. She lost by like 42 points. Nobody's ever lost like that. So I don't care about Liz Cheney. I care about these people.
President deportations. What does day one going to look like in the Trump administration?
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly, and it's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And it's one of the reasons I won the election in a landslide. The people of this country don't want murderers walking down their farms or their streets or their cities. As you know, we had thousands of people that murdered other people that were in jail that were released into our country. Many of those people murdered more than one person, many of them, about 42% supposedly. We want them out of our country, and we're going to get a country back again, and we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense. We're not going to be governed by stupid people. We're going to common sense. We're going to be respected all over the world again very soon.
We got to change the way that we think about things, and we got to change the way that we do business, honestly. Honestly, we got to change the way that we do things because it's a lot of people that suffer from the decisions on a regular basis that these politicians are making. And I think that Gavin Newsom is one of the worst governors of all time. Has to be. Has to be one of the worst governors of all time. Trump warned him. They've been telling y'all for the last few years. Again, I guess that Biden is over there somewhere at a funeral, but he hasn't really spoken about anything. But we're going to get to that in the next segment because I want to break down exactly what this leadership is saying over there in California. But before I do that, let me read a few super chats. Lachunsky Jones says, been a while, my brother. Been on the grind after our last coaching call almost 2 years ago. Got everything set up. We'll be going back to school for software engineering this year. Shout out to Lachunsky Jones. Presham Talk says, Anton, what up? Q, for real, for real. What up, though? Desmond Lucas says, save the smelt, let Cali melt. That's crazy. Speeds to B says, hey, brother, keep in mind, Cali is the most godless state in the United States of America, and the city of New Orleans is right behind them. I'm just saying, y'all think that California is the most godless state? Chat, do y'all think that California is the most godless state? If you had to pick a state inside of the United States of America that you would say is the pit of America and the most godless state, what state would you pick? Y'all would say it's California? What other state is there? Let me see. Somebody said, does Flint have clean water? Do y'all even know how the Flint water crisis happened in the first place? The Flint water crisis had nothing to do with a lack of clean water. It had everything to do with the pipes. It was the pipes and the water sources. So a lot of people don't understand that, but I don't know. Anyways, neither here nor there. Y'all think that, wow, everybody is saying Cali. Cali, Cali, Cali. Let me see if I see anybody that say anything different than Cali. I see some NY, Florida, New York. Y'all think New York is more godless than California? No way. No way. No freaking way. Atlanta. Atlanta is not a state. Georgia is a state. So I wouldn't say Atlanta. Atlanta is not a state. We saying states. Louisiana, y'all think that Louisiana is more godless than California? No way. No way. No way that New York is worse. Oregon, Washington, somebody said Ohio. I don't know where y'all got Ohio from. Louisiana, Washington, Arkansas. Arkansas because of some sundown towns. Y'all need to stop watching so much TV, bro. Honest to God. Real talk. Because of some sundown towns. China is not a state, but okay. Nevada? Hmm. Well, Las Vegas is more of a tourist destination, so that's a little bit different. I would say California is the top of the list. DC is worse, Chocolate City. Is literally called the city of Los Angeles. Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Yes, 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 yes. I'll rock with that. All right, and I don't think it's no other argument for that. I don't think it's no argument for that. The city of Los Angeles, that's a heck of a statement right there. That gave me chills a little bit right there.